Congressman, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
You've tweeted that you've spoken with Republican colleagues who agree that President Trump, quote, needs to go now. Are you expecting that a significant number of Republicans may vote with you?
I've quit predicting what they're actually going to do when it comes time to vote. All I know is that when we were there on Wednesday, under siege, with our lives threatened, waiting to go back to the House floor to finish our work, there were quite a few Republicans who were just as angry as I was and who were speaking in exactly the same language. Right now, I think a lot of them are afraid. They're afraid of their own base, which is threatening their lives. And they're also, I think, afraid of the judgment of history, and they're torn between those two, those fears.
And obviously, so they're afraid on the judgment of history that maybe they think the right thing to do is to vote against the president. Are you saying anything to them to that effect? I mean, are you trying to persuade any of them? What are you saying?
I think what I would say is that we either hang together or we hang separately, that there is a violent, extremist, insurrectionist mob out there that has been stoked and that has been growing, courtesy of QAnon, courtesy of extreme leaders in their party, including the president, for the last 4 years. And these people who stormed the Capitol and who are threatening to do it again next week are out for them too. They were shouting, "Hang Mike Pence." They're probably more angry at the Republicans right now, the Republicans who had integrity and who certified Joe Biden's election, than they are at us. And right now, we need to find unity in this country against this threat. We need to find unity to restore law and order and respect for these rules. And that is where they get safety.
You just introduced a resolution to censure Alabama Congressman Mo Brooks for his role in the insurrection. And just to let our viewers know, this is some of what he said to Trump supporters just before the attack on the Capitol.
I've got a message that I need you to take to your heart and take back home, and along the way, stop at the Capitol. Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
What do you think a censure would do to the congressman? Is this something that you think he would take seriously?
It's a serious first step. What it means is that if the House votes to censure, and I believe we will, that the congressman would be forced to stand in the well of the House and hear the resolution read. It would be a scarlet letter. It would be a vote of condemnation by his colleagues, and I believe, I'm quite certain that many Republicans would vote with us on this. But I think it's a first step. We're going to need to take a broader look at whether he and potentially other members did more than just say outrageous things, whether they may even have colluded in some way with these people who were attacking the Capitol and threatening our lives. That will require due process and investigation. It could lead to censure. It could lead to worse sanction. But for now, what Congressman Brooks said to the very mob that were marching on the Capitol to kill Mike Pence, to kill his fellow colleagues, that's easy to judge, and I hope that we move quickly to do so.
You mentioned the possibility of collusion between Republican members of Congress and some of those who carried out this siege. What questions do you have about that? What evidence do you have of that? What have you heard?
Well, I don't have answers, and I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything without anything that serious without significant evidence. But certainly there have been accusations made, including by some of the rioters on social media, who said that they were in contact with particular members, that they had planned the massing, the storming of the Capitol with them. I don't know if that's true. And I'm not going to, again, censure or expel somebody based on a supposition. But I do think there's enough for us to launch an investigation and to give these members a chance to answer for what they did or didn't do.
Are you confident that the Capitol will be secure during President-elect and then President Biden's inauguration?
This was a wake-up call for America. It was a wake-up call for our law enforcement agencies. I think they all know now they're not dealing with quote-unquote protesters or demonstrators. They are dealing with a increasingly organized domestic terrorism movement that has potentially millions of adherents, at least philosophically, in our country. And so I think they're going to be ready. And I think ready not just to play defense by putting up fences and bringing troops to Washington, D.C. I hate that, by the way. I hate all these fences going up. We need to play offense. We need to go out and start infiltrating these groups. We need to make arrests of those who trespassed on Capitol grounds, as the FBI and police across the country are doing. We need to take this fight to them to make clear that law enforcement does not stand with them, that they are on the wrong side of the law and the wrong side of history, and they will be held accountable.
Congressman, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.